Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're reviewing the Nissan Ariya, aka Nissan's Model Y. Before we get in this video, as always, if you're going to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Powering this is a dual electric motor setup paired to an 87 kilowatt hour battery pack. Range is 267 miles, and then power is 389 horsepower. Before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the hood, this one's finished in this really deep dark blue. I think it looks really sharp. And I actually like the headlight design quite a bit on the Ariya. I mean, look how cool that is. The turn signal indicator. I know, I think it's pretty fancy looking. And then that actual part of the cluster kind of reminds me of the Acura NSX. I know some people might get offended by that, but I see it. Got the Nissan logo there, parking sensors, and so yeah, overall, looks like what an electric Nissan would look like. Tire wheel setup is 235 by 55 by 19 in the front and over in the rear. And you can see with the wheels, mostly closed off for aerodynamic efficiency, and I like the metallic gray with the darker trim. I think it looks pretty cool. And you can see with the fender flare how that is painted. It's actually black, so I know that it's kind of hard to tell because of the dark paint on the Ariya, but there is a little bit of contrast with some blacked out elements, including on the mirror caps, for example. But here's your full side view. This is where you can see it looks pretty sleek. And this leads us to the key fob. Nissan logo, we've got our lock and unlock function opening for the hatch as well, pretty straightforward. And popping into the rear, you do have a cargo cover if you want to use that. This is some extra storage space, but you can just have a flat loading floor if you want. I just have the charger pulled out, that's why it's a little bit of a mess back here right now. But the slope design does get in the way of the vertical space a little bit. When you're all done, just press that, and that will lower the hatch right back down. Taillight design on the Ariya is pretty cool looking, I think, here. Got the Nissan logo in the center, and then you can see Platinum Plus. And that's the rest of the rear. Now taking a look at the door panel on the rear, you can see soft touch here, and then you've got like suede blue in coloration down below. Then you can see that theme kind of continues. And then here's the seat in the back. Very interesting, the material use. Now sitting in the back, you can see legroom's pretty solid. Got a little storage pocket here. Heated seats for the rear. Got some USB ports as well. And the slope design, again, does get in the way of headroom a little bit. Now taking a look at the front door panel, you can see, again, with the soft touch trim and then the suede down below, and then with the blue trim. I like the finish on the window controls, it's pretty cool. The mirror adjustments, they do power fold in, memory seats, blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. And then here are these seats. Pretty cool with all of the trim and the stitching and everything, and then your adjustments on the side. And then we do have some practical controls here, so you can see for like the steering assist and the heads-up display, auto hold, charging, all of that. And then you got more of that suede on the dash, and the rest of the dash is actually hard touch, interestingly enough. But yeah, suede like all across. Well, starting with the steering wheel, of course, you got the new Nissan logo. I like this little ring here at the bottom. I think it's pretty cool looking. But yeah, perforated on either side. You got practical controls in the front for like the cruise control, volume controls here on the other side. And then they just have traditional stocks in the back, so they keep things simplistic. Now taking a look at the gauge cluster here, you can see fully digital, and this will show you all the information you need on the car. So this is the funny thing. I feel like the EPA hates everyone except for Tesla when it comes to range, because again, this is rated for 267 miles range from the EPA, but in the real world, you can see I'm 95%. You can get about 300 miles of range with this. So yeah, I don't know. I've just always found that weird with these electric cars. But yeah, pretty simple with the digital gauge cluster. Shows you everything you need. So in reverse, we've got a 360 camera system here, pretty solid resolution overall. And then as for the infotainment system, quick response time, easy to use as well. You got the shortcut bar there on the side, got that for the camera. And then funny enough, you've got the climate controls here below on this like haptic feedback panel. It's very interesting. Volume control above it, and then you can see the kind of vent trim, and then again with that suede right there. But yeah, this whole setup here, it's very unique, but probably the most unique thing is this right here. Yeah, it's a little storage thing, but it's automated with opening and closing. Seems super over-engineered because then the glove box is just a normal glove box. And if you're wondering, you've got the shifter here, and right behind the shifter, you've got the, well, you probably won't be able to see very well, drive mode select. E-step is your one-pedal drive, and your parking assist, but this is that open and close button right there for that little console thing. It's interesting. Speaking of console, there's the center console, the wireless phone charging pad. And this also moves, oddly enough. You got this button right here to move it. So, yeah, lots of weird stuff like that. Camera rear view mirror, and then we do have a panoramic sunroof as well. And this leads us to the window sticker. It's gonna be hard to see because it's on my phone, but $56,940 is the MSRP on this. Let's see how it drives. Well, let's check my visibility before we set off. Visibility of the hood, and there's the heads-up display, both the mirrors. Turn out the rest of the rear, and well, let us set off in the Nissan Ariya. So, setting off in the Ariya. I am looking, oh, the GoPro. This thing's upset about my GoPro. Anyways, I've been living with this for a week, and it's a pretty cool car. First off, E-step. This is one of the things that I do find kind of annoying about the Ariya is you have to turn on every single time you get into the car. And here's your acceleration. It's quick, just like most electric cars. It moves. But yeah, the E-step system, you know, either you want one pedal drive on or you don't, so it's kind of weird that they make it so you have to turn it on every single time you get into the car. And then when it comes to driving, it drives like most EVs, right? You've got a lot of weight down low, low center of gravity, so tight handling, and it's pretty comfortable over bumps and all of that, right? Because when you have all of your weight down there, the top part of the car where you're sitting, yeah, it doesn't jostle around at all. It stays nice and planted. So it's a good EV. It's good at what it does. This interior is kind of funky, but really tight fit and finish. I'd say, yeah, just good build quality in general. Not sure about the reliability of some of these electronic parts inside, like the moving center console and this little cabinet thing, but you know, it gets the job done. And then, you know, I talked about it, the range. I just don't get it. I don't get why the EPA seems to. It's weird because whenever I look at the news, it seems like they had that, I don't know, there was that meeting, and it's like I think the president met with, like, what was it, Ford and General Motors, but then refused to meet with Tesla or something like that. And so it's like, it looks like the government's like anti-Tesla, but then you look at the EPA and it's like the EPA is like pro-Tesla, because whenever you look at Tesla's range on their cars, they get like maybe that amount that the EPA rates them at, and sometimes even less. And then it seems like every other electric car gets more than what the EPA rates them at. So I don't know, it just seems like some favoritism to me, but it's weird. It's really weird. So back to the Ariya. I think it's a good EV. It doesn't do anything special. It basically is competitive with like a Model Y, right? The things that this has better than a Model Y is, I think it's just a little bit more user-friendly with the infotainment system, having an actual gauge cluster, the physical buttons. Like this feels like a more normal car, right? Whereas the Model Y, it's like you got to get used to it. Whereas this, I don't feel like I have to get used to it. I just jump in and I'm like, oh, it just happens to be powered by electricity. So yeah, I don't really have anything. I don't really have anything bad to say about the Ariya. It's just it doesn't really move the ball forward, if that makes sense. It's just kind of like Nissan made a electric SUV that's competitive with Tesla, but it doesn't necessarily beat Tesla. So let me know what you guys think about the Nissan Ariya. Let me know what you guys think about that range thing, because the more electric cars I test, the more that I notice there's that discrepancy with the EPA. I'm wondering if good old Elon Musk is paying off the EPA or what's happening there. Just something's fishy. And yes, I'll look forward. This is the funny thing, if you wear a GoPro, these systems, they never work.